Hi guys, and welcome to this tutorial. So in today's tutorial we're gonna render a 3D object in Adobe's Dimension. That's their tool for rendering. You can make simple yet effective mockups for your products that are very efficient and look very good. So in today's tutorial we're gonna work on a custom-made object, not one of these objects you have in your library. You can just drag and drop an object into Adobe Dimensions and from the library, and you can work on it. But for today's purpose we're gonna make a custom object. So we're gonna go Command I, and we're gonna select our object. So uh, I used frame F on keyboard for framing up my 3D object. So this is this spray bottle I made in Fusion 360. If you want to see this tutorial, you can check up on it later. I made a video and I will leave it on the last minutes of this tutorial, so you can see how I did it. Okay, so let's start from the basics. First of all, you have your home screen. This is where you can find, I don't know, learn stuff and see different tutorials, explore, or see your recent projects. So let's go to our design tab, and here's where all the magic happens. So you have your object that we just imported. You can go uh, file import, or you can just go Command Y or Control Y, on depends on are you working on Mac or PC. So once you import your object, you can start working on him right away. Okay, so first, and there is this render tab where you can see your rend, but we will come to that in later part. Okay, so on the left side we have our selection tool. You can select, rotate, or scale your object. So when you click on your object, you see when you change a uh, different style, different settings, you can, depending on the settings, you can work on your 3D object. So this is the scale tool. This is the select tool. You can rotate it and move it up, left, or right. Um, the second one is move tool. Again, the same the same uh, the same thing, but you can move it through y-axis and z-axis. The next one is the rotate tool, where you can rotate your object, and the last one is scale tool. So very simple. Okay, the next tool is the magic wand tool. So with magic wand you can select one part of your object, where for example you want to select just this plane, not whole object, not the whole body. You see here you have the body, and with this magic wand you can select just one part and set a material. Let's say we will set material just like this, and you can set it up just on this one part. What is great, and I use it often. Uh, the next so you can select mode, you can add, you can subtract, you can selection size. If you go full on, you can even select similar objects. For example, we don't have two objects right now, but let's for purpose of this tutorial, let's say we have, if we would select one, it would automatically select the next one. So the next tool is sample tool. You can sample if you have any materials. Let's say we have wood on this part. I can sample this wood, and it will actually show me here which texture I just selected, and I can then again select apply tool and apply it to some other material, for example, like I just did on the other body. So very, again, straightforward, very effective, and hope you will find a use of it. The next one is camera tools. So you can rotate around orbit of your object. The second one is pen tool. You can move up and right, left and up and down, left and right. And the dolly tool is something where it's similar. We would call it zoom. So you zoom out, you zoom in. And the last one is the perspective, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's perspective. Oh, okay, it's horizontal, but actually you can choose in which perspective you want to set up your object, and you can customize it however you want that your camera films your object. Okay, and the last one is zoom tool, where you can zoom in, zoom out. If you press option, it will automatically make a minus, and you can go zoom out. In the last one is hand tool, where you can move your artboard around. Very straightforward again, similar as Photoshop and everything else. Okay, so let's just zoom in a little bit. Okay, this is too much. So this is our our tool menu. The next is our starter assets. So here you can search your assets, whatever you have. In the filter mode, you have three types of filters. So first is models, where it's very straightforward. Again, you have models that you have already plugged in. You can buy on the bottom, you can buy models from the stock. The second one is materials. Again, bunch of materials free for you to use. And there's substance materials, where you can use better materials. I don't know if the top ones, Adobe standard materials, are substance. I don't know that for sure, but I think they are. Um, and again, you can, on the bottom, you can browse through Adobe stock to find your materials. The next filter is lighting filter. So this is only in the new version of Dimensions, where you have three type of lights that you can add to your environment lights. So before this, you had only environment lights. You can choose a different environment light. Depending on light you choose, the light is different on your object. Adding this light, you can have more control of what kind of light you wanna to fill. On the right side, you have key light, fill light, and backlight. So let's say we choose our backlight and we wanna drop down the intensity totally. Let's say we wanna rotate it, and let's say we wanna change the height. You can also adjust size of the light and edge softness. So this is how sharp your reflections on the object will be. Again, very straightforward. And the last one is backplate, or just images, but it is actually the background behind your object. So let's say we're gonna do this. Oh yeah, I pressed before this the object. Just drag and drop, and you can put objects down. Uh, okay, so let's start working on our model. So um, okay, right now I like the background, but for this moment I will remove it. So in environment, on your left side, you have your scene. options. Okay, so everything you see in your scene is on the right side, and here are all the settings you want to use when you're creating your scene. And you will be, most of the time you will work in this panel. So let's remove the background for this moment. I like the background, it's very cool, so we're gonna use it, but for this moment I will just hide it. One more thing I forgot. On this top side you have different options. Also, this is toggle focus preview on canvas. So it's something like if you had a camera, you would know what is depth of field. So adding blur to your image to look more realistic, to look like it's made with camera. The second one is zoom to fit selection. I don't use it because I press F on the keyboard. It's the same. You see, when I press the F on the keyboard, it will automatically uh, focus our object in the center point of our uh, window preview window. This is undo, re-undo, and bookmark camera. Okay, this is a very good option. So let's see how it is used. So, for example, let's say you find a perfect, I don't know, golden ratio, and you like this, how you set up your object. You would press this button and add this camera to your view, and you see now if you remove anything and for example want to go back to that camera, just press on view 1 and it will reset that to that camera that you first set. And this is option to render in canvas. I don't recommend you doing this if you don't have a very strong PC because it will take a lot of your memory. So you have options of resolutions. So full resolution render in canvas. You see how it's starting to render. You can have one half resolution again. And one third of the resolution. But as I said, I don't use it because I just press later on when I'm uh, fine with my options. I just go to render and press render here and wait for moments, and it will actually render very good. So, okay, so now we can start with creating our render materials. So, first, let's see what we have in our model. So I made this model, as I said, in Fusion 360. So I made 6 bodies that create this object. So I can show you which of the bodies currently are. So body 1 is actually the bottle. Body 2 is the cap, wooden cap right now. The body 4 is the head of the spray bottle. Body 5 is this small part which would be used for regulating the size of the spray. And body 6 is the cap. So it's very straightforward model. Uh, it didn't take me long to create. Again, if you want to see how I did it, and if you want to create your own models, so you can do much better work for your clients, I would suggest that you learn Fusion 360 because it's very good and it's very simple, in my opinion, for using comparing to other 3D softwares that are currently out there. Okay, so we can start adding some materials. Let's say that I want uh, I want mm, let me see. I had one good material. I don't know if they removed it. No, it's here. Okay, so I'm gonna just click and drag and drop this material onto my body like this. You see, it's just amazing. So, but I'm not feeling it how it's currently adjust. So I will gonna adjust some parameters in this material. Okay, first of all, it's marble color. So color adjustments. Uh, I will remove this strong orange and make it more softer. Uh, uh, this is a roughness. Okay, roughness is something. How could I explain this? It's when you look at this shadow, sorry, not shadow, reflection on this part, you will see how when I add roughness, it becomes blurry. You see, so it's blurry till the point it's just not there anymore. So in real life, nothing is 100% reflective. Maybe some shiny black colors, but with studio lights. But in real life, when you're photographing something, it will never reflect 100% sharp reflections. So we will add a little bit of roughness. So let's say 10. Okay, this is too much. Sorry, I thought it was by 100. It's not. So it needs to be 0.1, maybe a little more. It's still pretty strong. Okay, let's say 0.5, 0.3, maybe. Okay, let's stick with this. Let's set it 0.4. Okay, so technical parameters. In this tab, you can add luminosity, contrast, and etc. So let's start with luminosity. I would like to have more white, so I will add a little bit more of luminosity. Okay, like this. Contrast, I will stick with 0, but maybe, but let's see what happens here. It's turned totally white. So let's say 0.5. Great. Hue shift is changing the colors. You can go change it to blue, but still I like the color right now, so I will not touch this. Saturation, you can add more saturation, but the, I don't see the need for it right now, so let's just leave it as it is, 0.5. Okay, normal intensity. So normal, mm, it doesn't change right now. It's something that happens behind material, so this slider doesn't do much for us in this moment. A resolution, okay, so resolution of the material is something. When you look at this material, you will see the uh, so these little scratches, let's call them like that. uh, the higher the resolution, the more quality it will be in the render. uh, so if you add high resolution, it will increase your render time, but will you get some strong effect? I don't think so. You can add sharpness in Photoshop, and it will dramatically uh, increase your sharpness of these details afterwards in post process. Okay, randomize. You can randomize the scratches if you see how we change it. So we can change it however we feel. Just drop a number here, and it will randomize it for you. Uh, let's say I'm happy as it looks right now, so I'm gonna dolly out and change our scene. Okay, the next part is this cap. So I will use this scratched this material here. So it's scratched, so it looks great. I tried it. You see how it like has these like scratches, and like it's was totally broken. Looks like that. And I like this at this moment, so I will turn off just for sake of this tutorial. Okay, I will add some light to better see. So you see how it has scratches and everything. I already tried this. I was happy with the effect of it. The cap I would use wood. So just a second. This is carbon. Let me see where is our wood. Uh, mm, okay, just a second. Yeah, here it is. Okay. Cedar again. Sorry for the pronunciation. Um, let's add this to our cap, so it looks like a wood cap, and we're gonna add uh, some plastic. Plastic is this is I think plastic. Maybe it's paper. I don't know why it's not showing the names. It should be showing the names. If I double click, no. Okay, sorry for this. But let's add this and let's add on the front. Mm, maybe we should add metal. So for example, let's try the magic wand tool. What I want to do now is this part here. I want to select it if I can, if it lets me. So oh, sorry. Yeah, so it should be this. Oh, I know why. Because we were tiny selection. We want to take this and let's make it black. We will take this part and add it here. Okay, great. Um, so this is I'm liking this object, how it looks. Um, you know what? I will change this part here. Just a second. Let me show you again how. So I will just select the size. Okay. So with Shift, I'm adding more faces to my selection. You see, I will go on this side and I will add one more selection like this, and now I'm gonna add a material. Let's say I'm going to add brass. Great. And now, okay, we have our brass. Let's select unselect this part. Let's fix our camera to see everything. Okay, now let's go to our environment settings. Okay, in our environment settings we have our lights. So we added, if you remember, we added this new lights: circle light, square light, and 3-point light. I like this 3-point light where it's often used in photography, so I mostly use these 3-point lights. An environment light is something that replicates studio lighting also, and it shows you on this little uh, circles how the light will reflect on objects. So I mostly use Studio Light Arch. Okay, for this project we cannot use this; it's too much. But let's Studio Wood. But it's still bright on this part, so we have to change it. Okay, so in an environment, you can change the intensity of your light. For us, this is pretty good, but still we're gonna lower it a little bit down. You can rotate your light. You see how it changes on the object. I like this preview that Adobe has in their preview window. It's very good in comparison to the render. So next, let's try our key light. So just toggle it off to see where it hits. So it's going from our uh, right side. Yeah. So it's hitting from right to left. Um, so let's change the intensity. Let's, let's not totally remove it, but let's keep it down. I like the rotation, so I will not change it. Square, circle, it's not doing much, but the type of light you can change the type of, let's set circle, size, uh, okay, the bigger the size, the less shadows is on the object. Edge, softness, mm, this will soften the edge of the bottle, so uh, you can play with this on your own, how you feel you need you think it needs to be, and fill light. So this light is from left side to right. Um, so you know what? I will totally kill this light, and the backlight is something that will give us a great effect in this part here, and I like it how it hits our currently object. So the camera settings, field of view. So if you change the field of view, you can see how it like goes from the zoom lens to like full hardcore uh, uh, fisheye. Um, you can play with these settings. I will leave it just as it is. Position of the camera by X, Y, and Z axis. Again, play with this if you want. If you want to type up the numbers, but when you move, it's very straightforward. It will change your position of the camera and rotation of the camera. With this orbit tool, you can change this rotation. Uh, I like how it is, so I will just leave it like this. The next thing is our object. Of course, we already went through it, so just so you know, your object will always be on your right side. Uh, so this is it. Yeah, let's go back to environment. Well, let's choose our uh, background, and this is very good tool. I will show you. So once you select your backplate or background image, you can match the image settings you see to your light. So resize canvas to image aspect ratio. Okay, leave this checked. Create lights, multiple lights. This is great, and match camera perspective. So it will automatically set your camera so the perspective will be perfect. You will see now. I will press OK, and you will see how the object is just on the wooden table, and it looks great. Okay, it fucked up the lights, but still it did very good job. So let's move back, and we will try. I like my lights, so I will keep the lights, and I will just try to set up with our tool how our object will be in the on the on the table. So I will try to match like this. I will zoom in just to make it a little more bigger. I will go up like this, and I will just play a little bit more with this. Okay, the shadow is great. I think all in all, I want to add this. Okay, let's move it back. And I think I like how this looks like. So after you're finished, I think we covered everything. Hope we did cover everything. If not, just let me know. Um, and now we're gonna go to our render settings, and so it will ask us which camera we wanna render. I will add this camera just for purpose of this tutorial. Add, let's say, my, okay, render. So now you can add here which view you want to render. Current view and my view are currently the same, but just so you know, you can render different different renders simultaneously. This you will always need to change. Let's say spray bubble high, slow. This is the quality of the render, so I usually go medium because I add more details in Photoshop. So, and then again, I don't need so much quality in my renders. So I usually go medium, but you can go high. It will dramatically change the time of your render. Uh, I will set it up with medium, and then export formats. You can export as PNG, and I always use Photoshop format PSD because I change it uh, afterwards in Photoshop, and you can decide which bits channel you want, 32 or 16. I usually use 16 because people mostly watch your renders in PNG and JPEG, and that's totally enough for those two formats. So, and the last is last thing is to choose your folder, and once we set up our view we want to render, we just press render. You can use cloud beta render. You have credits. I tried it. I'm not very okay with it. I don't know. It took too much time. I don't know how it is today. Maybe it's better, but when it came out, I didn't like it, so I don't use it. And when you press render, here will be your render status, and once it's done, you will hear the sound and the render will be finished. So yeah, that's actually it. Sorry it took me so long to make this tutorial on how I render my stuff. Someone asked me in the comments. Hope you enjoy this tutorial. Again, if you want to see how I made this bottle, uh, I will link the video down in the comments or on the last frame of this video. Hope you enjoy it. Please give the thumbs up and like this video. It would mean a lot to me. Subscribe to my channel, and thank you for